Wilson.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Okay.
She's back.
Leftover thunder. Sorry about that. Why don't you continue and then I'll take it.
Did you want to fit? Did
No,
you want to go, Lillian?
right ahead. And
Okay.
I'll go after you.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. As we were talking about grieving, and I have to tell you, I agree with everything Lisa said. It is so true. And this is a poem that I wrote about grieving. Grieving is like clothing. Sometimes it's heavy like a winter coat, and sometimes it's light like a sweater, but we carry it with us all the time. Folks, I have to tell you, I lost my dad, I lost my husband, I lost my brother. There were all three different types of grieving. Matt, of course, being the worst because he was my husband. But losing a sibling threw me for a loop. And it was exactly 1 year and a week after Matt died. And I said goodbye to my brother via video because it was at the height of COVID. The time that my brother was in the hospital, we couldn't visit him. I'm glad they allowed my mother and my other brother to be with Bradley when he died, so he didn't have to die alone. My heart goes out to everyone who lost someone during COVID, and you don't have that closure. You didn't get a chance to have that, to have your rituals, to have people around you at the time that you needed them the most. Hardly anyone showed up for my brother's funeral, and my brother was very popular. It would have been packed, but because of COVID, it was just immediate family. And not too many people visited my mom due to COVID, which, she understood. But I agreed with everything Lisa had talked about. Grieving did affect my brain. Everybody's grief is different. Everyone grieves differently. And I have a lot to say, but I will keep it as short as I can. Stop telling people to be strong, for number one. Stop telling people they're in a better place. They're better off. If you don't know what to say, that's fine. How about saying, I'm here for you. Let me sit next to you. I'm here to hold space for you. Cry on my shoulder. Let me give you a hug. So many times people don't know what to say. They don't mean to say the wrong thing, but they do. And if you've never experienced a loss that person has, please don't tell someone you know how they feel, because you don't. And even if you did experience the same loss, their feelings might be different than yours. What I like to say is, I'm sorry for your pain and sorrow. That's what I say, because that is just hitting it. They are in pain and they do have sorrow. I would never, ever tell someone who lost a child I know how they feel, because I don't know how they feel. And to be honest, I don't want to know how they feel. That's the truth. And losing Matt, yes, with each skill that he lost, I grieved. We grieve their loss of their physical essence, and we will always love and miss our loved ones. That doesn't go away, folks. Stop telling people, get over it. When are you going to get over it? There's no getting over loss of a spouse, a child, mother, father, whoever you lost. You get through it. You don't get over it. And yes, life goes on. This is true. It's not the same. You have to build a new life for yourself, whatever that is for you. I like to encourage people, things that you wanted to do, hobbies you wanted to do, maybe traveling and you couldn't do it before. Do it now. And you have every right to enjoy life. Don't let anyone tell you you can't enjoy life. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. Or people thinking, oh, they're smiling, they're laughing, so they're not grieving. You don't know what that person went through. Don't judge people. And people who have gone through a long term like I did, 10 years with Matt, don't tell me how to grieve. Don't judge me by what I do, because you didn't live with me. You didn't see what I went through. I've discovered this, folks. Matt was 67. My brother was, no, Matt was 66. My brother was 67. Life is short. I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to enjoy it for myself and for Matt and for my brother who couldn't. And holidays, Lisa touched on holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions. Yes, the grief hits us very hard then, like a sledgehammer. And I honor Matt's memory. One of the things that Josh, my son, said to me before Matt even died was, are you going to still celebrate Father's Day and Daddy's birthday and your anniversary? I said, of course I will. So we go to the cemetery, we place flowers, and then we have fun. I believe in enjoying life. I buy Matt a birthday cake, and Josh and I sing happy birthday to Matt. You might think that's kooky. That's okay. That's what I do. And we always honor Matt on every special occasion. And I'm so happy to see people posting about their anniversaries, posting pictures, posting about their loved one's birthday. You know, I think people thought, oh, I can't celebrate my anniversary because my spouse's or partner has died. Yes, you can celebrate. What are we supposed to do? Forget that we got married? Forget that we're married for so whatever years it was? No, I'm not going to forget that I got married. I'm going to honor that. I'm going to celebrate it. People don't like it. I don't care. I don't need anyone's permission to grieve, and neither do you. It's so sad. I was in a bereavement group at people having to hide how they truly felt because family couldn't accept it or didn't like it. You know what I have to say to that? Because I'm a Jersey girl. That's just too bad. That's too bad you're uncomfortable with my grief. I don't care. I'm going to talk about my loved one. And people might be afraid to mention our loved one's name. News alert, folks. We know our loved ones are dead. We know that. You can mention our loved one's name. We want you to. Tell us a story about our loved one if you knew them. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear about the memories that you have of our loved one. And Christmas, this last Christmas, was really difficult. Excuse me. I'm in bad shape from the end of November through January. That's when Matt was dying. It's a double whammy. It's the holiday time. It's when Matt was dying. And I realized triggers, especially the first Christmas without Matt. Christmas music, I had to leave the department store. I burst out crying. I'm a little better with that now. I also realized that showing Matt's end of life, I can no longer do. It's a trigger for me. And it's okay not to show that. That was only a certain part of Matt's life. I want to show the good times. But I don't want people to forget what Matt went through. I just can't show it this year. And I thought to myself, I should be doing better by now. And I said, you know, when I went on Medicare and a supplement, I said, I had to see a psychologist. I was talking to a grief counselor for free at my senior center, and I know I needed more help. It's okay to acknowledge you need help. It's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. And people think it's a sign of weakness. Folks, it's not. It's okay to cry. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to talk about your loved one. And, you know, maybe I'm a trendsetter. I don't know. I did a show a while back, well, way back, called I Don't Need Your Permission to Grieve on Chatting with Betsy. You don't need someone's permission to grieve. You know, take your time, if you can, packing up your loved one's stuff. Some people say, I'm not ready to get rid of my loved one's possessions. Well, unless you have to move, then let it stay there. I gave away some of Matt's possessions. It made me too upset. And I waited a year to clean out Matt's closet, cried the whole time. and I donated Matt's belongings to, I think it's the Purple Hearts through Green Drop. Green Drop is an organization that will pick up, if they're in your area, that will pick up your belongings. And you can choose what organization you want them to go to. So I chose the Purple Heart organization for the military. That's what Matt would have wanted. He wasn't in the military, but he was very patriotic because my veterans home near my area wasn't taking donations due to COVID. Take your time, and you don't have to give away everything. I had a quilt made of Matt's t-shirts. I had 2 teddy bears made. I had a pillow made with Matt's picture on it. Do what's of comfort to you. You have to do what's best for you, and the heck with everybody else. When we got the teddy bears back, Josh, I was really surprised at Josh's reaction. He got very upset, and I know why, because the clothes, his father wasn't wearing them. And I said, it's okay, Josh. It's okay to cry. Let's start crying thinking about it. Let your children, even if they're adult children, cry. Let them vent. Let them tell you what they're going through, how they feel. I did not like it. And I told people when Matt was dying, they would tell Josh to be strong, me to be strong. No, we don't have to be. That is old school nonsense. That's bull crap. Okay? That's from another time. And I think it's really sad that people like from my mom's time, grew up in World War II, they have to feel like they have to suffer in silence. Because I told my mom about grief counseling, she bit my head off. I don't need to tell anybody. I don't need my dirty laundry. It's sad when people have to suffer in silence. You don't have to. There is help out there. Consult with your primary care physician and the area where you are at. Check your senior center. Excuse me. They might offer free counseling. I received free counseling. I still do. Check what is available in your area. If you don't have insurance, check and see if places offer a sliding scale fee based upon your income. There's a lot I could say. I don't want to take up a lot of time. But folks, you don't have to be strong. We had to sit with our pain, even though it's painful, acknowledge our feelings and process them to move on. And if you need help with that, then go for help. So many people say, I got to keep busy. I got to keep busy. There's a difference between being busy to keep your mind occupied, and that's great. But it's not great when you keep busy to avoid how you feel. That's when you have problems, because when you keep suppressing how you feel and swallowing it down, guess what, folks? It's going to come out. You're going to snap. You're going to have illnesses. You might even have a breakdown. Don't suppress how you feel. Sit with your pain and go through with it. And if you need help dealing with your pain, that's okay. You get the help that you need. I am not ashamed to say I am seeing a psychologist. And I hope by saying that, it encourages somebody to go for help, because everyone in their life will need help at some point. Don't judge people because they go for help. Don't judge them because they might have to take an antidepressant. I don't take that because I can't take medication. But if someone does have to take it, then that's fine. That's what they have to do. And please, folks, don't judge other people for what they do. If they should date right away or don't date, or that's their business, not anyone else's. And until you walked in their shoes, you have no right to judge what anyone else does. And that's what I have to say today. Thank you for listening. And just love up on each other. Show some love and compassion to somebody. Thank you.
Betsy, that was so beautiful. So beautiful.
You know, it's too much for me to say. However, there are 1 or 2 things that I can add. Sorry about the interruption. We are having cross-country thunderstorms go through my city at the moment. Reading, Monopoly, yes. Okay. Whatever Betsy said is absolutely true. And another thing you need to be aware of, if you do go out and you are approached by a gentleman, and this happened to me a couple of times now, let me tell you something. Don't let them shame you into going out on a date. I'm still not ready. My husband's been dead now 4 years, and I'm still not ready. Number one reason, personally, there's nobody out there that can match Barry. That's just the way it is. I already had the best, and there's nobody out there that can come to the standards that I had with my spouse. So when somebody tells me, A, I'm going to be lonely for the rest of my life, that's not true because Barry's always with me. And number two, I'm being selfish about not letting a new man in my life. And this is what I tell them. And maybe this is a grief answer, but I like who I am. I do not want to get into another relationship where my feelings are thrown to the wind again when you pass. I've been through it once. Thank you very much. I suffered with it with my father and my mother when they died. And if you're like me, and you possibly are not, most of my personality and who I am was part of what my parents formed as part of my childhood and growing up into a woman. And the same thing applied to my spouse. We were one because we were involved with each other emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So when one passes, it was devastating for me. Last year, I was supposed to go to my son's beach house in September. And I finally told him, I said, I'm canceling out the month because that's the month that your dad died. And I just can't pull myself together to go down. In actuality, Barry hated the beach anyway and wouldn't be caught dead on one. So maybe that played into it too. I don't know. But I know, like Betsy says, September through January, they're off months for me. Halloween isn't too bad, but Thanksgiving, when the whole family is there and everybody's looking at the seat in which he used to occupy, sitting by me, unfortunately for widows, more so for widows than widowers, the U.S. is a two-person country. Our society and culture is built for two people, man, woman, man, woman. I don't care how you do the pairing. It is not meant for singles. Recently, there was an article in the Washington Post saying that singles were singled out and they did not receive the type of benefits or the quality of life that two people in a relationship have. So in order to beat that thinking, platonic relationships are beginning to blossom where platonically couples are living together because it's better for two than for one. Well, that's very nice, but it doesn't help people who lose their loved ones, especially in dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. My husband was my everything. Not that I can't live independently without him, but I also feel the pain all the time. Do you know that there are certain nature shows and shows on PBS that I refuse to watch again because we used to watch them together? Do you know that there are places even here in Pennsylvania that I won't step foot in because we used to go and walk there together and I cannot bring myself to do it. Or if I see something on TV, in a movie or in a TV show that strikes a little too close to home, I'll burst into tears. Very difficult to try to explain why, except I know that these are the kind of things that Barry and I used to do or watch and then discuss. And when you lose your other half, you lose a tiny portion of yourself. So not only are you grieving for the loss of your spouse, but you're also mourning the loss of that tiny bit of yourself, of what is called what was. And you can't get what was back. You know it's there. You can feel that it's still there, but it will go with you for the rest of your days. So I can honestly say that when you have a spouse with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, or other type of brain diseases, you handle PTSD because you went through it as a caregiver, but you keep on reenacting inside of yourself of what happened before. And maybe I could have done something differently. One of the biggest parts of my grief, and I still argue with myself, should I have let him go or should I have kept him alive? And that's a question that is a moot point because in the end, I decided to let him go. But I keep on questioning whether I did the right thing. And I will keep on arguing with myself until the day I lay down and take my last breath. And you're saying, what is she talking about? This is part of grief. Is what a psychologist would call your guilt feelings for not doing enough. And now that your spouse has died, you are blaming yourself for allowing that person to pass, to allow him the final or her the final dignity of dying. I went into counseling after Barry passed because I really had trouble trying to answer some of the questions that I took immediate action on. I was in therapy for a year. And afterwards, my therapist and I agreed that I was okay, but the door was always open for me to come back. In my family, if you went to see a therapist, that meant that you were on the brink of being crazy. And it was something you should be ashamed of. Lucky for me, I don't pay attention to those things because I want to do what's going to be best for me. And also, yes, I talk to Barry all the time. We have some great conversations. And they think, oh boy, now she really is crazy. But the thing of the matter is, you're not. Because when you hold the person up who you love and have a conversation with them, you see them as they were before they get sick. You do not see them as they were when they were sick. And that's something that you really need to consider. Also, Barry's clothing. Well, my grandson has most of his shirts and a couple of his t-shirts. And he told me to hold on to his grandfather's suits because he may be able to fit into them when I grow up, Grandma. And that's a good, well, he's 10 now, so I figure maybe 20, 21. But the suits are there, and I told him if the moths don't get them, they're all his. And that's how I handle my grief now. September is getting a little bit better for me. Keeping busy doesn't do anything because actually we did so much together that there isn't a facet in my life that I can keep busy with that I won't remember of what we used to do. So my final advice and tips is this: mourn him or her in your own way. Everybody's grief is different. It's personal. And if you feel like you need the help, please go, because if you don't, it will eat you alive. Because you will be forever blaming yourself for how you handle your spouse or mother or father or aunt or uncle or friend about what you did and what you did not do, or what you knew and what you did not know. What we have available now for us in terms of caregiving for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or dementia now in the 21st century is vastly different from what we knew even 10 years ago. And you have to cut yourself some slack. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Next Friday, we're going to start on slavery. And yes, human trafficking, more importantly, child slavery, which is the fastest growing industry in the world. It surpasses the cartels in drug dealing. It surpasses gun smuggling and arms. It's the #1 business where people can make a lot of money off of somebody else's misery. And most governments turn a blind eye to it. So I'm just letting you know that we're going to be discussing it. And there's a trailer out on a new documentary that it took the gentleman who put it together 5 years to get it out there to the general public. And we will be posting it on passionatworldtalkradio.com. Please take a look and pay it forward. So Lisa and Betsy, please give your emails so that people who are caregivers, or if you want to put it this way, survivors, who husbands, wives, friends, parents, grandparents have been affected or afflicted with a brain disease, can contact you and say, I listened to your program and this is what I think. And that is their call to action. Email one of us and say, I was a caregiver, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a patient's helper, and I go in and I help people who have a brain illness. And let us know. And don't be silent. This is not the time to be silent. PWTR was created to give people a voice. So I'm extending you the invitation to get your voice known. You can email me at pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. Lisa?
Yes, Lillian, I just loved everything that you had to share with us today. It was also so beautiful. This was a very touching show for me. My personal email is dementiawhisperer and the #1 @gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching today and listening.
Betsy?
Hi, Lillian. I got to say 2 things before I give my email. #1 is you hit it right on the head, Lillian, about the guilt. So true. I didn't think I would have guilt, and I did for a year. And I know now that I did everything that I could, but I thought I failed Matt.
You still feel guilty? I still have fights with myself. I shouldn't have done that. And then my brain says, it's a little late for this, but you do it anyway because you're programmed. society programs you to have this negative reaction of what you should as compared to what you shouldn't have done. And the doctors
And
don't help, the really good ones. Well, I was trained not to kill people. And I'm thinking, thanks, I needed to hear that.
yeah, it's and some hospices, they're supposed to, mine didn't. They're supposed to offer counseling up to a year.
Yes.
If but it was COVID and they didn't offer anything. Well, not surprised considering what kind of hospice care we had. And I talk to Matt all the time too. I talk to him like he's still here, and I do feel him with me, and I have gotten signs. Now you might all think I'm crazy, and that's okay.
Oh, I've had people say, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm talking to Barry. And they look at me and said, but Barry's dead. And I said, well, spiritually he's not. I don't have an answer for that one.
I still feel that Matt is with me, very much so.
You can feel his presence.
Yes, absolutely. And Lillian, you and I have a lot in common. There's like, I could be standing in a Dunkin' Donut, or where Matt and I used to go, Barnes and Noble, and sometimes I could just burst into tears.
Oh, I do that. It's terrible. It's like having Harvey. And if people know who Harvey is, fine. And for those who don't, look him up. Because I always feel like Harvey, alias Barry, is standing right by me and he's saying, well, why didn't you ask me if I wanted some coffee from Starbucks?
And Josh and I went to see the film The Sound of Freedom, which is about the child sex trade. I want to just say, go see that movie. It is eye-opening, powerful, and heart-wrenching. That this is real, that this is a money-making. They're taking children, folks, 6 years old, boy and girls, both, trading them off for sex at 6 years old. That is just revolting to me.
We're going to be putting
here is
a trailer on the website talking about this new movie that has come out in Boston, and we're going to put it on, and we're hoping people take a look because it could be your child.
That's right. Very interesting in this movie in South America, where this lady posed as a talent person. You know, these people are poor. This little girl could sing, and she said to the dad, "Oh, she's talented. You know, we're going to be having a modeling thing. You know, what do you call that? To try out."
Yeah.
And that's how they got these boys and girls. It was a very powerful movie. I highly recommend it. And my email is Sloan, SLOAN, Betsy, BETSY 31 @gmail.com. Thank you for listening. And I like to hear from you. And if you need resources more in depth, let me know.
Absolutely.
And I'd be more than happy to give you resources. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for listening. You can see and hear this Lest We Forget -historical all over again on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lest We Forget -historical. And you'll be able to find us there on youtube.com/PWRN_PWTR. Also on linkedin.com/Lillian Cauldwell, twitter.com/PWTR, and on our website, passionateworldtalkradio.com. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have topics that you believe need to be discussed, please let us know. I mean, we already have a laundry list for the next 4 years, but if you have an important historical event that has affected you and your family or your ancestors or an aunt and an uncle, don't be shy. This is the time to come to the aid of all the universal people, because everybody, no matter where they live and breathe, has probably endured or gotten involved in some way, because all countries pretty much act and react in terms of society and culture. So thank you very much. And remember, please keep listening. Thank you.